Good day and happy Friday for those of you who are alive with me this morning. This is Tracy Brown, your somatic dietitian and attune eating specialist, and it's this Friday Q&A. And I'm going to drink a little slurp of coffee here while a little few people get on live. Hello, good morning, people. Good morning. Hey, Deb. This coffee is more hot chocolate than it is coffee. It's good. I love it. All right, good morning, Megan and Jill. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. And I think there's some other people maybe, but they're not popping up. But anyway, thank you all for coming live. I appreciate it. It is your morning, to ask questions about compassion, to ask questions about how we can be less hating of our bodies, because you all know my mantra is that it's not necessary to love your body to be humane, and that's good. Good morning, Megan. Thank you. The sun shines pretty. All right. I want to talk about today, and you can interject your questions. I answer them this morning. I've got time. No need to rush anywhere. Kind of made some space, not to have to rush too much this morning, so that's good for all of us to just kind of really land here, find your feet, and find your seat, and find your back, wherever you're watching or listening to this, whether it's Friday or not. Just let yourself really land here. And I want to talk a little bit about when compassion feels hard, especially for our bodies, when it feels hard. And what I've noticed in most of our people I work with, and myself as well, is that when we know our body is tired or overwhelmed or needs us to eat something different, we want to listen to that, and we want to have compassion for that even. And what I notice is there's this thing in our survival system that says, like, oh my gosh, if you do the thing, like eat the food, keep the food, move, not move. I'm glad you're here too, live, Faith. All the things that we know would be compassionate, we're going to feel like this little catch in our system, like, oh gosh, if I do that. And it feels like then that means we can't be kind, when really there's some fear there of slowing down to be kind. There's some fear there of, like, if I'm nice to my body, people are going to think that I've given up, that I don't care, that I'll disappoint them, that I won't be safe, there's all kinds of things there. And I think that's a barrier for a lot of us to actually be compassionate. We want to be, but it feels like we can't because something bad will happen if we don't. And so I want you to think about today as we're sitting here, and if you're just hopping on live, I invited everyone to find your feet, find your back, find your seat. So whatever you're sitting on, if you're walking around doing housework or doing something while you're watching this or listening to this, just take a second to either stand, just stand still and notice where you are in space and what comes up for you about allowing yourself to have what you need with food, allowing yourself to know what you want, to know where it is to reach for it, to ingest it, to take it in, to be satisfied, and to yield enough to, like, okay, that was good. Because all of that's compassionate. Is action, is an action cycle. Compassion is an action cycle. It's a thing that says, like, I'm going to slow down enough to know what I need, and I'm going to have thoughts about that. Oh gosh, if I'm that nice to myself or I'm that kind, to not force myself to diet, that means that I don't care about my health. That's not necessarily true, but it's old programming that says it's true. That I have to be really harsh on myself, or that I have to do the most restrictive thing possible to fix my health. That's not necessarily compassionate. It may be that you do need to shift something in your eating to improve your A1C, or to, if you're having, let's say, if it feels like, well, if I stop moving, then I won't be fit. Well, that may not be true. And a compassionate thing probably would be to actually slow down, to get really clear about how much movement you need to do, quote unquote, to be fit. and what makes that really important. These are all compassionate things. The fear is just something that is popping up usually in our head from the future, fears of the future, or like old whispers from the past of like, I'm not going to be okay. And that usually prevents us from being compassionate with the bodies we have and what we need right now. So I'm going to give a second just to like anybody who's watching, who's listening, to think about like, where's my barrier with compassion for the body I have right now? Is it cultural conditioning? And if I reject that, I think that means that I don't care. Or have I been told that means that like, well, if you can do something about it, you should, and that would mean something about me. Maybe it's totally food related. It's like the reason I don't eat 3 meals a day, or whatever it is that you feel like you know in your gut that like needs to happen. And you really know in your gut that there's some things I kind of know I need, but the block is like I don't let myself have it, or the block is I don't slow down enough to even know. And I'm struggling with letting myself be, because I'm afraid I'm going to lose something. You know, even having this conversation and thinking about it, even if you take no action on any of this stuff today, is compassionate, because you're allowing yourself to potentially have a choice at some point. So, does anybody have any questions, thoughts? This is Q&A Friday, so I'm here to I got a few more minutes. I'm not going to hop off right this second unless nobody has any questions. But, this is kind of wrapping. I do have a prompt for you tomorrow to be thinking about as well, on Saturday, to kind of journal and think about. But today, like I said, I'm here to answer your questions directly about what you need. If you don't want to do it here live, message me. That's fine. I'm happy to help. But be thinking about, where do you think the block is with compassion about either what your body needs? And sometimes it's rebellion. Like, I know what I need, but I don't want to do it because it feels like I'm being controlled again. Okay, can we have compassion for that? Can that be welcome? Is it something about movement? Is it something about the way you look? That you're having I don't know how. And it's like, okay, well, what would that not knowing need? And I know it sounds a little convoluted, but what would that not knowing need? To be like, hey, even if I don't know how to like this body, you're a human. Like, you're on this planet alive right this second. And how is it serving you to be cruel? You don't have to love your body. You don't have to love how it looks, but like, certainly, no matter what you look like, it doesn't deserve hate. Because we know that all of these ways of which we've decided that humans should look are just, man-made, made-up rules anyway. And I can promise you that not one of you, me, or not any of us are any above or below anybody else. All right, got a question here. My challenge is the busy brain. I have so many thoughts running all the time. Well, So the compassionate question would be, brain, spinning, huh? Yeah. I wonder what feels like can't slow down. What part feels like it can't slow down? Yeah, because those thoughts keep us definitely unembodied, right? Disembodied. Because it thinks it's helping us. So, something to think about. Yeah, that motor's really going, huh? Yeah, that's right. And that's the growth. This is all of everybody watching this, and self included. Our edge is 100% getting more into our bodies. It is new, and it is new. It is new. Even if it's not totally scary and you're excited about it, it's still new, and it's still kind of weird at the beginning. And all we can do is orient towards, well, what's good happening right now as I do the new thing, or as there's also some fear. Can we have compassion enough to not abandon and not run when something is new? And it could just be scary because it's new, or it could be being my body, because all eating stuff no matter what behaviors it comes out of, no matter what thinking patterns it comes from, whether it looks culturally acceptable or not, being in our heads around our to like try to decide what our bodies need, is a form of disembodiment. Okay. And deciding like, yeah, that fear is welcome here. What does it need? All right, our next question here: how to sit with uncomfortable feelings of wanting to binge? How to incorporate compassion? Naming it. A compassionate thing would be like, wanting to binge, huh? Feeling kind of bingy, huh? Or like naming it, like, I'm feeling kind of revved, huh? And does that revved, bingy feeling feel scared? Does it feel mad? Does it feel shame? Just having a conversation like you would a little one. Like, I'm scared of the dark, huh? Like, yeah, it's going to be a big crowd, huh? And talking in that kind of way to ourselves is usually what's been missing. All right, next question I want to answer here is, I read something that said staying busy is trauma-based, so you can't focus on what you need to. Yeah. We do have character strategies, and one of them would be industrious over focused. That was my main strategy. I never stopped working. Until I was in my late 30s, probably always had 2 jobs. Probably always worked at least 50 hours a week. And that's when I was actually doing really good. I started becoming industrious over focused at 8 years old. So yeah, it's a response to keeping yourself basically running from the sensations, running from even if you don't have a story connected to it, just running from the body sensations, running from what you think is going to happen, running from what did happen, running from not having enough, running. And it takes a lot, it's really compassionate to see like, having a hard time yielding. And usually, for me, what was the most healing is learning how to, I just got with some good help, essentially, of people who knew how to help my system slow down. Which is why you always see me kind of seeming pretty calm, is because I've done a lot of work on growing my capacity to honestly accomplish a lot of stuff, but not feeling frantic about it, and it being very choiceful versus being like my pants are on fire, because I kept working on these things. So if you have any questions about how to do that, please message me, and I can help you. I can personally help you find somebody that can help you, that kind of thing. All right. Yep, that's right. All of this is distress tolerance. All of this is learning how to build like this internal, competent, not only build our own self-soothing in our nervous system and in our whole being, but learning how to correctly and accurately neurocept what's safe and what's not. So these are internal experiences. That's right. So we have to practice being with sensation. Sometimes we can regulate ourselves, but a lot of times we learn to regulate through co-regulation, which is with safe others, which is being around people. This is why I do so many videos, because I want you all basically to practice that watching this. Yeah. I'm pretty convinced that I attract a lot of people who struggle with being busy as well. And so I do plan on doing a series just specifically for learning how to slow down. I'm not sure when I'm going to get that done. I have my rough draft of it. It's going to be a 40-day deal of us practicing coming together every single day, practicing slowing down. I got the rough draft done. I just got to get it done, basically. Probably after this forum and membership stuff gets done, which would be hopefully next week. And the only thing that's holding it up is me again. So, in there, but maybe that'll be something for early next year sometime. I hope early to mid next year. But we're gonna really, it's a huge focus of mine to help you all to do that. So, all right, I do see what time it is, and I do need to hop off. I am so grateful for all of your questions, all of your presence, all of your hard work, because even for those who watch but don't comment, for those who are watching later this and they can see these comments and see these questions and see these just these discussions, it will encourage all of us. So thank you all so much for coming. Being willing to put yourself out there is huge, and to put yourself out there and see like, oh, I'm okay, nothing bad happened. That's really important too. So Faith, thank you so much for participating so much today. I really appreciate you and appreciate that. And I hope you were all strengthened by everybody who showed up as well. So thank you. And if you find that this was helpful for you and you know somebody who's kind of like you, then please share this with them, because the more others know that like they're not alone, these thoughts aren't foreign, they're not the only one that's thinking these things around food, body image, learning how to be with what we feel inside. All of these things are really important. So thank you all so much for watching. For those of you who are hopping on late, please go back to the beginning, because this has been a pretty long discussion, pretty detailed, and I want you to get the whole shebang out of it. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.